talk about that mother relationship a little bit. You know, in a home or a house, a lot of times the way it starts out is not the way it is when they start renovating it. I've noticed that some of the houses that they work on have had additions put on, and the additions are sort of like, they don't make sense with the outer look of the house. They just look odd. And sometimes over a decade or two of living in a house, and we just sort of change things around on the inside, they lose their function. And so that's part of what they do when they go in and renovate these houses. Well, I want you to know that there's nothing really in our world that we can see that has changed over a decade or two or three, like motherhood. Motherhood has been through lots of changes, and so I think it's time for a renovation, and that's really what I want to talk about today, on how we see motherhood. We can't go back and make motherhood like it was when life was different, because life is different, and so we have to take those values of the past and bring them into today's culture. And that's really what my heartbeat is here this morning. Nothing really shows us the change in motherhood like those TV moms. Some of you grew up with TV moms. A few of you maybe grew up with June Cleaver, Leave It to Beaver, and those TV moms. But a lot of you grew up with Carol Brady. Who remembers Carol Brady? She's one of the all-time favorite TV moms. Some of you will remember Caroline Ingalls. I know she's probably my wife's favorite. She loves Caroline Ingalls from A Little House on the Prairie, and Olivia Walton. That's an image, and they had their era. And then we come from that, and we came into a period of time when it might have been like Claire Huxtable, who was a successful lawyer. No longer was she a homemaker, but she was a lawyer and a homemaker. And, she had this big, important job, and yet when you looked at her house, everything was always in order. Did you ever notice that? It's always in order. Nothing ever out of order except for Theo's room, And so... and Dad dealt with Theo most of the time because she was going to kill him. But and so we went to Claire Huxtable, and now I Google's an amazing thing. I Googled top TV moms of 2016 and got a list of about 11 or 12. But I just want to give you 3 or 4 mostly because I don't know these. I have no clue who they are, but I know one. But out of the 4, I'm going to give you 4. I'm going to know one of them out of the 4. But I want you to tell me if you know who they are. One of the top TV moms of 2016 was Rainbow Johnson on Blackish. Anybody watch that show? I don't know if she's a good mom or a bad mom, but she's a mom. And it's a different type of lifestyle. This one I sort of know about by name, but Lorelai from the Gilmore Girls. Anybody watch the Gilmore Girls? You know who Lorelai is? I don't know, but then this one, when I mentioned this in the early service, you got a lot of chuckles. Gloria from The Modern Family. Okay? I take it some of y'all know who Gloria is. But by the way, I didn't put it in my notes, but Marge Simpson was even mentioned as a top mom, and I think there was another mom in The Simpsons that was mentioned. But the only one I know out of really all of them was Topanga Matthews from Girl Meets World. And the reason I know that her is from Boy Meets World a long time ago. But and again, she's a very successful lawyer, as well as owns her own business and operates the coffee shop and all that. And so the look of motherhood has changed a lot over the last few decades. And so today we want to look at a story in the Scriptures that transcends these changes and speaks to all of us, and especially speaks to how we view mothers. Today, most moms work outside the home because of necessity in order to have a living. And when they're not working on their public job, they leave there and they're rushed to get the kids, and they're transporting them from this activity to that activity to this activity to that activity. Would some of you mothers say amen? You've been there, you've done that, and you didn't get the t-shirt for it. And then after all of that, you've had a fast food meal through a drive-through, or perhaps if you managed to have something cooked ahead of time, you grab that in between, and you get home at night, making the kids make sure they got their homework and bath, and you might do a dish or two, and maybe a load of laundry, and then you just collapse. Does that sound familiar? And then this is the worst part. You get up early the next morning and do it all again. And so I think mothers deserve a Mother's Day. Can I get amen for that? I think all you ladies ought to say amen. They deserve Mother's Day, where they get treated special. And they don't have to do any of those things. Did you hear that, honey? I said, you don't have to do any of those things. So today I want to leave you with a thought. We're going to start with this thought and end with this thought today. And it's this. Moms give what they need most. Love. You see, sometimes, dads, we struggle with what to give our wives for Mother's Day. Rick Warren said, you already have what they need the most. They need your affection, your affirmation, and your appreciation. And sometimes we don't know what to give our mothers because they have everything, or if they want something, they go and get it. You know, after we grow up and get out of the house. But you know, they still, what they need the most is what they're always giving away. And that's love. Affirmation, appreciation, and affection. And so that's the thought today. Moms give what they need most. Love. Well, we'll come back to that in a moment. But there are some truths in the Bible that I think help us see this. And it's from a story in the Old Testament. And today I'm going to tell you the story rather than reading it straight out of the Bible. I'm going to put it in my own words just because, and you can read it for yourself later, but I'll give you the passage in a moment. But it's the official record of the kings of Israel. It's in there. And it tells the story in the official government record. And so if it's in the government record, it must be so, right? But just a little side humor there. But it's an unusual story that demonstrates this truth. It's found in 1 Kings chapter 3 in verses 16 through 18. Now, this story takes place after Solomon has become king. Solomon had, God had come to Solomon and said, I will give you whatever you request. He could have asked for money. He could have asked for fame. He could have asked for 1,000 beautiful wives. He could, we all know that was the issue with him too. But he asked for wisdom. And so this story takes place immediately after that in the 3rd chapter of 1 Kings. Well, here's the story. Here's what happens. There are 2 women who are prostitutes. So they were looked down upon society, and in fact they were lawbreakers even in that society of that day. And these 2 women lived together in a house, and the house couldn't even be in a brothel where there was more women there at some times. But at this time that the story takes place, it's only the two of them. And both these women become pregnant. And the first woman gives birth and has a son. And 3 days later, the other woman gives birth to a son as well. Well, that night, the Bible says that she laid on the child, and the child died. Today they might call it SIDS, but the Bible says that she actually laid on the child, and the child could not breathe. It was an accident, terrible accident. And so here's where the treachery comes in. This woman, not being able to bear with the fact that she doesn't have a child, she gets up, takes the dead child and puts it, how many of you have heard this story? You know this story. She takes that dead child and puts it in the other mother's arms, and takes the living child back to her bed with her. And so the story goes that in the morning, before sunup, the mother of the living child who has the dead child wakes up, nurses the child, and then she doesn't recognize that it's not her child. But when it becomes daylight, she realizes, this is not my child. And so she looks, and sure enough, she discovers what's been done. And so they have this big argument, and because they can't go to the regular authorities, because they are harlots, they somehow find an audience with the king. Pretty cool. And, you know, it kind of speaks to me, because I think, you know, sometimes we can't go to this person or that person, but we can find an audience with the king of heaven. And he's listening to us. And so they find the audience with him, and they each tell their story, and he repeats the story back just to make sure he understands it. And they say yes, and so he says, okay, here's what we're going to do. Bring me the sword, and we're going to cut the child in half. And we'll give half to one and half to the other. But immediately, the mother, whose child is still alive, says, no, 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 let her have the child. And she says, no, let's just cut him in half. Well, the obvious answer is, he knows who child the mother really is. He says, give him to her. And so that's the story. And his fame went out, and all of Israel was amazed because of his wisdom in dealing with this matter. And so, as we think about this story, there are 3 or 4 things that I think bring us to the truth that I mentioned earlier. Moms give what they need most. First of all, is that moms aren't perfect. You know, we like to think our moms are perfect, and they may be perfect in most ways to us. But no woman is perfect. There's never been a perfect mother. And you know what, some of you moms, you want to be a perfect mother, and you struggle under the weight of your own imperfections. And so this is going to be good news for you. Moms aren't perfect. Sometimes we have issues with our mothers because they weren't perfect. And so this speaks to you too, that you need to realize that they need your love and forgiveness, not your incrimination. And so as we think about this issue, I want to tell you a little bit about my mom. My mom, we've got a picture there. This picture was taken probably 6-8 months before she went to heaven. So she's a little bit frail here, but my mom was a quiet, meek lady, and had a good sense of humor. I've often said since she died within the year that we started the church. So it's been 9 years now. But the thing I miss most about her is her laughter, which was unusual because I never thought of that about her when she was living. But my mom, she worked a lot of long, hard hours most of my life. She worked in a factory and to help provide for her family. There were 4 children. I was the third. I was the baby for 16 years. And I told them in the early service, I was just kind of a mama's boy. I mean, I really was. My mom was very precious to me, and I miss her so much. And I know some of you miss your mom an awful lot. But this idea of working hard, one of my earliest memories when she was about 2 or 3 years old, when I was about 2 or 3 years old, is she was working third shift. And my dad would go to work, and brothers would go to school, and she would be left there working all night to take care of me during the day. And I can remember this one time that's really in my memory of her being so sleepy, Miss Barber, on the couch, and she's just struggling so much not to go to sleep. And of course, she wants me to behave and wants to take care of me. But that's that's what mothers do. They sacrifice. And so she was a good mom. She was raised in a good home. She had a godly mom and a godly dad. They took her to church when she was a child. They lived close enough to church. This was back in the day. They'd walk to church. And she had an older sister that was a couple years older than her, and the younger sister was a couple years younger than her, and then some brothers that came later. And she had a gentle and quiet spirit, and I just loved and cherished my mom. And so I was telling you about her church, she learned to play piano and sing at church with her sisters. But when she was about 15, she met my dad. And as it happens sometimes, she was determined to get married. She was a very strong-willed person. And so her parents, they said, no, you can't do that. And so I'm sure she stayed after them. And when she turned 16, August 20th, 2 days later, her and my dad got married. And they signed for it. She turned 16. And so that decision really changed the trajectory of her life a lot, because at that point in time, for practical purposes, maybe not in all or deed, but for all practical purposes, she walked away from the faith. And for 27 years, she was away from the Lord. And she had a hard marriage, very difficult, and a hard life. And that's why I treasure her so much, because she was so good. But that decision affected her. You see, what I'm saying is, as wonderful as my mom was, she wasn't perfect. And as wonderful as your mom was to you, she had her imperfections. You might not have recognized them if they were there. Normally we don't look back and remember those things, we remember the good stuff. Some of you have a living mom and you recognize readily that she has imperfections. And maybe she makes your life difficult. Well, I want to help you know it's okay that you're not perfect. You're not perfect either. In fact, there's no perfect people. And so we are to give them what they need most, because that's what they give. And it's love. Now, I know that there are some who do not, especially, treat their children properly, and that happens. But they still need, you still need, to give them forgiveness. It's needed for you to be healthy. But for you, those of you who are here today, I want to take the pressure off of it. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect. In fact, you may feel like everybody expects you to be perfect, but nobody really does. Some moms are closer than others, but none are perfect. Second thought here out of the story I want to talk about, not only were moms aren't perfect, but moms know their children. And I want you to know, you don't pull anything over on your mom. She may not tell you she knows you're lying, but she knew you were lying. They know. They've got this sixth sense kind of thing, eyes in the back of the head, see all, know all, be all kind of thing going on. That's the way mothers are. You see, us dads, we're not the same. We've got a real disadvantage as a man. Because when we walk into a nursery at the hospital, what do we say? They all look the same. I was telling the early service, Hannah and Emily, unless there's a couple of distinguishing marks in the picture, they're baby pictures. I don't know which one's which. If I see a couple of things, I can figure it out. But I can say, Tammy, she always knows which one's which. She remembers everything. She knows. Mothers know their children. You can't fool a mother. A mother can hear a baby cry a block away and know if it's hers. And they can know if it's a real cry or I'm in pain cry. Or I'm whining cry. Mothers know the difference. Even at birth. Even in the newborn. You can't fool a mother. Mothers know their children. And she knew who her child was. And your mother knows about you. So we'd be thankful today that although moms aren't perfect, moms know their kids. And they love them anyway. They love them anyway. Third thought I want to give to you today, not only moms aren't perfect, moms know their kids, but moms make sacrifices. They sacrifice. They give what they need the most. Love. You see, this woman woke up early to nurse her child, even before daylight. Now, some of you moms, you get up early in the day. You're doing laundry, some of you get up in the middle of the night. It's like you don't sleep ever. I just want to conk out. Tammy's still like the ever-ready bunny. She's just going and going and going. You exhaust me. Going. She's able to do that because she makes sacrifices. Moms sacrifice for their children. And I want you to know it's that way all the days of your life. No matter how old you get, you're still going to sacrifice for them. It may get lighter, it may get a little easier with different seasons, but those are the sacrifices that mother make. I told you about my mom and how she worked long hours and all this. She never talked about it. She never talked about how hard her life was. If I could have asked her why she done it, she'd said, I did it for you. And that's what our moms do. And they should be honored. We should have a day like Mother's Day. And moms are an amazing gift of God to us. In our story today, the real mother was willing to sacrifice not only getting up early, but she was willing to sacrifice even her motherhood to see that her child was alive. She was willing to give up that child in order to spare its life. The ultimate sacrifice. And, I've got to say, sometimes mothers, pregnancies are unplanned, and they know that they can't take care of that child. And sometimes the greatest thing they can ever do for a child is to allow them to be adopted by somebody who can care for them. Sometimes it's not a mother that's young. Sometimes it's a mother that can't, because of some issues in their life. They know they can't be a good mom. And they will allow the child to be adopted. That's a great sacrifice. And so we ought to appreciate it just for that. That alone. moms will buy the best for the kids and go without the things they need for themselves. Moms will take kids to practices and school events and social events, even if it means taking up any time they might have for themselves. They will encourage that child to be in band and athletics and drama and cheerleading and a dozen other activities, even though it's going to mean more work for them. Because when the child's involved in activities, guess who's going to be there to help? Who's going to be the den mother? Who's going to be the cheerleading sponsor? Who's going to do all those things? It's going to be the mom. That's what moms do. They sacrifice. And while I'm talking about activities, I want to caution some of you moms and dads. The more activities that you allow your child to be involved in, the more they can push God to the background. And so you need to think about that when it comes to activities. I'm not saying those things aren't good. In fact, they are very good. But just be careful. Well, there's a fourth thing here as I finish. Not only moms aren't perfect, moms know their kids, and moms make sacrifices. But did you know that moms have problems too? Moms have problems too. And you know what? A lot of times they let everyone else's problems ahead of their own. Because not only do they have a problem, but they have, when their kid has a problem, mom has a problem. And I've seen a lot of you mothers here. When somebody messes with your child, you've got a problem. I've seen that motherhood come out. You carry your children's problems. Some of you carry your husband's problems. And it seems like there's no time for your problem. This woman had a problem because this child, her flesh and blood that she loved dearly, was about to be taken from her, and there was no DNA testing. There was no way to prove it. It was just her word against the others. And so Solomon's wisdom really won out in this matter. And he got it from God. Being a mother is a high stress all the time. It never disappears. A mother is a lifelong ministry. No matter how young they are or how old they are. It's a lifelong ministry. Somebody said that motherhood is a little like wrestling a gorilla. You don't stop when you're tired. You stop when the gorilla's tired. Well, moms give what they need most. You're always giving that. That's what a true mom does. Because they need that the most. They need it from God. They need it from those that they love and cherish. And as I said earlier, sometimes we think we don't know what to give to mothers on Mother's Day or to our wives on Mother's Day. Give them what they already, we know that they need. Love, affection, affirmation, appreciation. And I want to say to you moms here today, moms, you have a Heavenly Father. Even if you'll come on. You have a Heavenly Father who always takes time for you. There's always time for you. You can call upon Him at midnight. You can call upon Him at 4 in the morning. You can call upon Him during the day. You can call upon Him when your child is in trouble. You call upon Him, you call upon Him, you call upon Him, you call upon a Heavenly Father who will give you the wisdom that you need, give you the strength that you need, and be all that you need. We have a good, good Father in heaven. And no matter whether we have a living mother or a mother who's already passed, or we have a mother that wasn't so motherly. We need to give them. For your own good and for their good. Give them what they need most. Give them forgiveness. You might not could ever go back and make things like you wish they were, but you can forgive and sort of be at peace with where you're at in your life. See, our Heavenly Father is wiser than Solomon. If you're a parent here today, you're in a struggle for your family. You're in a struggle for your marriage. There's a struggle for your children because this culture forces in around us and causes us to want to give up and to say it's no use. But I want to say to you today, don't give up. Do what's right. Be the mother that God wants you to be. Be the father that God wants you to be. Be the grandparent or the child that God would have you to be. Because you're not in the struggle alone. God is there with you. Not only does God give love,